what basically they mean is like, no, so they're going to print the diamond in, and they're going to get the input from user what the size of the diamond is going to be, and what they mean by size is the number of rows. Okay, so if it's 7 means it should increment to 7 rows and then start decrementing. That's basically it actually. So and then obviously it needs to be in values. Okay, let's do this one. It should just take only a couple of minutes to do this. Okay, let's okay. The important thing is like now you pretty much have to do all the exercises in that one actually. The reason why I'm insisting on doing all the exercises in in this particular it will really give you an insight, how it will really help to improve your problem solving abilities. So that's why I'm asking you to uh, not no, you don't need to do the exercises immediately. You can take your own time, but try to cover all the exercises. Okay, so let's do that. Oh, sorry. Next. Yeah. Okay. Okay. First, for this diamond, right? It's really simple. Okay. There's only two things you need to print. Okay. You need to print the star in the middle, right? So let's think these things as spaces. Okay. So how the logic you should think of logic, right? So let's come from really simple one. Okay. Let's see if the size of the thing is going to be 3 means like no. So in the star. So that's the way, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is what the simple thing is. Okay. So how did I made this diamond now? So what I did in the starting is like no. So to do this one, right, diamond of size 3, what I did was like no. First I gave 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, and then printed a star. Then next time what I did was like no, give 1, 2, 2 space and printed 3 stars, and then 1 second. Then it doesn't need to be space actually. Don't need. Yeah. Okay. So let's compose. Okay. So first two spaces and then the star, and then a single space and then 3 stars and then 5 stars and then again now in the decremental order one space and then 2 spaces. Okay. Let's do this in like how I did draw the diagram, sorry, diamond here, right? Let's try to simulate emulate that one in the code itself. Okay. Now the logic here is like no. Okay, so it goes on like this. Okay, if you want to do like say for example the size is 4 means like no, it will be the same logic. Okay, now 1, 2, 3, then start 1, 2, start, then 1, 2, sorry, start 5, start. Okay, so if you see this, right? Okay, so how many spaces are there? 1, 2, 3 spaces are there. 1 second, I'll just write this one. Size 4 diamond, size 3 diamond. Okay, now so this is when I say 4 means I what I assume is like 4 rows. Okay, so for the size of 4, right, how many space we get left? 1, 2, 3, and then a diamond. 1, 2, and then 3 stars, and then 1. So how the decrement was from the starting, right? So it was first was 3, and then next to it reduced to 2 spaces, and then it reduced to 1 space, and then 0 space. Then got started incrementing to 1 space, 3 3 space, right? 2 space, and then 3 space. So whatever the size they give, right, it should be, say for example, if this is n means like, no, the logic is like, no, there should be n minus 1 spaces first. It should start with that, and then a single star, and then the star should increment by 2 gradually, and then it should go on. Okay, let me write the logic. Okay, first should be n minus 1 spaces, and then let's put so size of the diamond. Okay, and then let's assume that how many diamonds should print is like, now let's name that variable as count. Okay, so initially the count is going to be this is the user input. Okay, and then we should initialize count with 1. Okay, okay, so this is going to be the first thing. Okay, how this it going to continue is like, no, next is going to be, so first it keeps on going on. Okay, next, what you just do it like this. Okay, n minus 1, and then again it keeps on going on. Okay, n minus 1, sorry, count plus 2, it keeps on going. So, and then count is called count plus 2.
Sorry, Bala, you're doing now size 3, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. This will work for everything actually, because you have to print the diamonds, and like you see this, right? It gives
But
one.
the thing is, in size 3, I think you have first you have 1 space, yeah, and then you have on size 4 you have 2 spaces, and then print.
No, it should come with 3 space, and then it should start with 2 space, and then a single space.
Yeah, but in size 3 you have just 2 spaces, isn't it? Not 3 spaces. It's kind of starting differently, yes? Yeah, but the logic is the same, of course.
Yes, exactly. That's what I mean. The count is going to be the amount of, the stars is getting printed. Okay, I'll just put this one in the IntelliJ. You guys will understand very clearly there. Okay. Now, okay. So what I said was like, now, okay, let's see what the size is going to be like. Now, I'll just initialize a variable called as n. Okay, equal to size, and then I will keep it as it is, and then I will initialize the count as 1. Okay, that's going to be always the amount of stars you need to print out. Okay, first of all, is going to be sorry. First we need to print the spaces, right? Okay, now what I said was the space is going to be n minus 1, right? Okay. How many spaces we need? N is equal to n minus 1. Okay, let's just a space first. Oh, sorry. It's correct actually. G plus plus is okay. Now, okay. So what this will print is like, no, this is a single line. Okay. So let's run this one. Let's see. So, okay. So for example, if I enter 3 means like no. Oh sorry, I did the print. Should do print. Oh yeah, the difference between println and print is like no. Println means what you are saying is like no. Print a single. Just show you quickly demo that one. Okay, what's the difference between system println and print? Okay, so if I type A. B C means no. Okay, so what has happened is like no, it has printed A, and then the what they will call it is like no, the focus, they call it, that called as focus. The focus has jumped from this line to the next line. Okay, and then afterwards it will start to print B, and then once it printed the B, right, it has gone to the next line. Okay, so it's the new line. Okay, after each printout, right, the focus will be shifted to the next line. It will automatically it will shift to the next line. Okay, that's what you mean println. If you just say print means like no, what it means is like no, it just says that printed and leave it. Don't change the focus to next line. Leave it in that line itself. If I print if I run this program, right, you'll just see ABC in a single line. Yeah, so yes, now it means running. Okay, you see this, right? ABC has come in the single line. So that's the difference between println ln and ln means it's just a next line. Okay, new line. That's it. And then if you just remove that ln means like no, it will just print it and leave it there itself. The focus will stay there itself actually. See, I have given print ln here, right? Now the focus will be shifted here. If I enter 3 means like no, it will come here. Okay, I'll be entering here. But if I remove the ln here means like no, and then if I run the read on this program, the focus will stay there itself. See, if I enter 3 means like no, it will go, the focus will be in the same line itself. That's all it means. If you give ln means like no, it will print the statement and then jump the focus to the next line. Okay, that's the difference. I'm just going to remove this. Okay, when I stop them later. Let's print a 3. So, 3. Okay, see this one, right? Now we got 2 space 1, 2. 1, 2. Yeah, 2 spaces and the star has been printed. Okay, that's the first step. Okay, we have printed it. Now what we have to do is like no, we have to repeat this one till to the size of, if you 3 means like no 3, we have to do it 3 times and then start to reduce it and then come down. Okay, let's put this under. Now we have to rerun this one again. So this should go inside a loop. Okay, let's do that. Okay, now what has happened is like, okay, so now what I'm going to do is like, no, once again, is equal to n minus 1, and the next time and to systematically reduce the m. Spaces should go down, and then the count should increase by 2. I'll just run this one, and 3. No. Okay, yeah. What has happened? You see this, right? Now, okay, so what is the logic has happened is like, no, so I'm running this first. Let's come from the first for loop. Okay, I'm going to run this block 3 times. Okay, when I say 3 times means what, that's the value I entered. Okay, that's the size I entered. Okay, now we know what this is. Okay, we are just printing out the, so for the first, the n is going to be the size. Okay, whatever I entered. Okay, n is going to be 3. So first I'm printing the spaces, next I'm printing the stars. So initially what the logic was like, no, the space should be n minus 1 times. Okay, what is n minus 1 means? 3 means it's going to print 2 spaces and then a star, then one space and then triple stars, like that. Okay, let's look at the space its own first. Okay, first it's going to be n minus 1 times, and then it keeps on going on. Okay, yeah. So yes, okay, first is going to be n minus 1, so it's going to print out 2 spaces, and then how many stars we need. So the count I have initialized as 1, so 1 star will print out. So what this does is like, now, okay, now what I've done is like, now I've reduced the n from 3 to 2. Okay, that's what I want to do, because next time I just need only how many stars? Okay, I need only 1 star to be printed. First time I need 2 stars, then 1 star, then no star. Okay, if the value is 3 means, if it's 5 star means first is going to be 4 spaces, next is going to be 3 spaces, next 2 spaces, next 1 space, next 0 space. Okay, so that's how this systematically this decrement will work. And then the count, how this is like, this is the amount of stars I need to be printed. Okay, because if you see this means like, first it will be 1 3 5, so the increment is going to be 2, so that's why I did count is equal to count plus 1. Initially I started with 1 star, and then next is going to be, if you do count is equal to count plus 2 means like, no, it's going to print 3 stars, and then if the next iteration is going to print 5 stars, and keeps on going on up and up. Okay, so this is simple as that. Okay, now we need to do the other bit as well, the bottom bit as well. Okay, now we need to from this one. Okay, now let's try and include this logic. Like, now the simplest thing is like, now just copy this and then if you do it again means like, it will immediately solve the problem for you. I need the stars, and then keep on incrementing. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so yes, that's right. Okay, this is right. And plus plus. Oh. what has happened to the count is I'll show you guys what's after this one. Still one more space. Why that incrementing? First it will be 1 and then it will become 1 space. Yeah, that's right. Still only 1 space. Oh yeah, sorry. It's my mistake. Yeah. Let's redo it with 7 and see if it comes. Okay. See this one, right? Okay. So how will this happen is like now. Okay. Now the first thing is first. Okay. Now this part is to print out the top bit, and then the next is like now is to print out the bottom bit. Okay. Now what I have done is like now. Okay. This I assume you guys understood. Okay. I explained how it is done. Okay. So once this for loop is done means like now once sorry, let me do it in the debug mode. Okay. Okay, I'm going to enter value 7. Okay. Now, so what has happened is like now half has been printed. Okay, this half has been printed. Now what will at the end of this loop, right? What will be, because I'm going to reuse a count. Okay, whatever that comes out of this one. Okay, so the count is going to be the so how many times this loop is getting executed? So it's going to be executed 7 times. Okay, and the increment is 2. Okay, I started with the count as 1, right? So every increment, right? It's going to run for 7 times. Okay, so what will happen? It will become 3, 5, and then it keeps on going on 7 times. Means like no, it will become 15 at the end of the loop. Okay, why 15 in the sense like no? If you count the stars, right? So 1, 3 star, 5 stars, 7 stars, 9 stars, 11 sorry 9, then 11, yeah, and then here it will be 13 stars will be here. Okay, so so why you got as 15 is like now because once it printed the stars, right, 13 stars here, right, it will increment the value still by 2, it will be 15, and then it will go to this for loop and then check if it's still executable. Now because the k would have become a 7 at the time, it will come out of the loop and then the count will still be 15. Okay, so what would be the next number of stars I need to print? If it's 13 means like now I need to print 11, right? So I need to reduce how much count by count is equal to count minus 4 I should do. Okay, so because the count value was 15. Okay, that's what I had done. It will work out for everything. Okay, it doesn't matter how much value you give 7 or 9 or 11 or 13 or any number of value, it's going to be always going to work out actually this minus 4. Okay, and then I just emulated the same thing whatever we did in the top here. Okay, but in the reverse order. So what we did in the starting, what we did was like no, we started with how many spaces, like 6 spaces, and then keep on going, right? Now and keep on decrementing the amount of space. Now what I have to do is like now I have to start with 1 space and keep on incrementing to 6. That's what I did. Okay, so I did 1 space and then and then n indicates how many number of spaces I need actually. Okay, need to print out. It starts with one space first. First it needs to be started with one space, and then it goes on incrementing. Okay, in the next iteration, how many space I need? I need 2. In the next iteration, how many space I need? 3 spaces. Okay, in the same way, the how many now earlier what has happened is like now the amount of stars was incrementing, right? Now the amount of stars will be keep on decrementing. So that's why I did count is equal to count minus 2 in this portion. Here you see this one. This is the main difference. Okay, in here, right, n indicates a space. Okay, let me change n into like something simple so that I'll name this as space and then count as star. Okay, so that you guys will. Okay, so initially what the space is going to be, how many spaces you want, whenever you do 7, right, like now initially the space is going to be 7 minus 1. Okay, that is going to be the space. Okay, so why I have done this way is like now because it's space, right, I have initialized with minus 1 here. Okay, you can do it like here itself. That is easier means okay, you can just take out this one. Okay. So initially how many spaces I'm going to need? I'm going to need 6 spaces. Okay, so that's why the size is going to be 7 minus 1. Okay, and then how many stars I need? It's flat out 1. Always it's going to be 1. It doesn't matter how many what is the size of this diamond is going to be. Okay, now once I start means like now, so what I should do the next time? So initially I need 6 spaces, 1 star, then I need only 5 space, and then keep on increasing the amount of stars by 2. Okay, that's what I have done. Okay, so how many what is the decrementing how much decrement the space is going to be? Space is going to be decremented by 1, but the star count is going to be incremented by 2. See this one, right? So that you form a diamond shape. Okay, and then once you print out the first half, right, it's going to be in the reverse order. So that's why I've incremented from here onwards, right, it's going to be, the space is going to keep on increasing. That's why the space has been incremented and then the star has been decremented. Okay, if I run the other portion, right, continue. You're going to get the full thing. Okay, it doesn't matter what is the size is going to be. You can give any size you want. You're going to get like this. Okay, so in your free time right now, okay, it might be the logic might be up in the air by now. Okay, a little bit. So I will leave this program. Okay, I will put this program in the share also. Okay, we can easily, we don't need two like this. Okay, we can work out a logic in the single one. Okay, because as we are starting now right now, it's okay to do it like this. Okay, but once we get more and more experience, right, we need to reduce the number of lines we use to code. So that's all. Okay, I'll leave this program, try to understand it. It may look complicated, but see like how much time it took me to do it, actually think of a logic. So if you keep on practicing, right, it will easily come. Okay, it's not complicated at all, it's really simple. Okay, now, but don't worry if whatever I explained you are not able to understand clearly, means because it will, obviously it's my program, I can easily explain it, but obviously, so when you write it, right, you will understand it. Okay, I'm going to today's topic. Okay, okay, now last week we saw for loop, while and do while, right? Okay, now we are going to see something called a switch. I'll tell you something about switch. Okay, switch is really simple one. Okay, when most of the times when we will use switch, right? If there is more and more nested if statements are coming into picture, right? If you do if else if else, right? In those circumstances, you can replace those things with switch statement. That is one of the scenarios where we will most commonly use the switch statement. Okay, I'll write out what switch means. Go to the okay. Switch statement. Okay. Now, what they mean by switches right now, you have how you will normally do if is like now if I is equal to 2 means do this and then else. If I equal to 3 means do this else. Equal to 4 means some block of code. Okay, do this. So now what has happened is like why this is not. Okay. So what has happened is like now, okay, if the I is going to be 2 means like now do this statement. If I is equal to 3 means do this part. I is equal to 4 means do this part, right? So this is simple if else statement. You guys will understand. Okay. Now this can be really simplified with the switch. Okay. How the switch works is like now switch syntax is like now if you do switch, you just type I here. Okay. And then you tell if the I is going to be 3 means like no do this. So just block of code detail. Case 4 means so what we did 2. That's it. See how simple the switch was. Okay, this so how complicated the if was, right? If you do go again and then it's a costly also. When I say costly means like now in the real time execution, right? This will take more time to execute than the switch. Actually, switch will be really simple actually because you got so many comparisons to do. Okay, in the if, right, it just needs to do one comparison. What is the I is going to be actually? It will come inside and find out which block it needs to execute. Okay, so it's really simple. That's all the switch is all about. Okay, so based on the value whatever you give, right, you can give based on the value, right, you can execute a piece of code whatever you want, and then this value can be decided dynamically. Okay, now let's implement this in the real-time program how it works. Okay, now again I'll do the same thing. I'll just copy the switch also you will use I mean it's not a rare as do while all those things, but switch you will occasionally use actually because in many in the real-time programming, right, if statement and then the for loop. Okay, these are the only two things which you use very commonly regularly. Okay, in some circumstances where the if gets really complicated, you got a number of this like 8-9 scenarios inside the single if else, right, then you will use the switch statement. Okay, now let's do this. We'll call it simply as I. Okay, now so I. Okay, what I can do is like no. Okay, I'll do something like this. Okay, so at the age of 3, what the kids will do is I'll explain to you why I need to put break every time. Okay. uh, okay. Now so it's as simple as I explained. Okay, so whatever a user has given, right, if the user gives 1 means like now this will get this block will get executed. If a user gives 3 means this block will get executed. If user gives 5 means this will get executed. Okay, default is it explains itself. Okay, if the user gives anything which is not inside the case, inside any of inside the, I mean, if the user gives any value which doesn't belong to any case, right, then the default will get executed. So if the user enters 2, 4, 6, anything, 8, 9, 10, anything, right, the default will get executed. If 1, 3, 5 means any one of this block will get executed. Anything other than those 3 values, right, because we haven't defined what needs to happen for that one. Okay, so the default behavior will take place, and then this will get executed. Okay, let's run this one and see. Let's suppose. Okay, if I give answer 1, right, I am calling, you see this one, right, let me put this in the okay. If I give a value 1, right, I am crawling. Okay, if I give value 3, right, I'm walking. Okay, if I give value 5, I'm starting scrolling. If I give a value 8, default behavior will take place. If I give 9, again default behavior will take place. If I give anything, default behavior will take place. Okay, so as simple as this one. So now, okay, I'll just quickly tell you why the break is. It's not really a flaw in the program in the Java or C, because the switch statement again comes from the C programming. Okay, that's how this is how they, whatever I'm going to explain, right, this is how it was in C and C++ as well. That's why it's the same thing in Java. Okay, now if you don't give break, right, what will happen is like, now if this case statement get satisfied, if you give a value as 1 means like, now this case statement will get satisfied, and then it will execute the block of code. What will happen after that, right? It won't what you would expect is like, now once it executes this block of code, and then you expect it to come out of this switch, right? No, it won't actually. What will happen is like, it will start executing the following code as well. Following code. When I say following code is like, no, it will ignore this one and then start to print out everything. Okay, I am walking, and then it will print out this also, and then it will print out the I must be old as well. If you don't give break means, we know what break means in the last session we saw, right? Break means coming out of the loop. Okay, coming out of the block of code. Okay, that's what the break is used for. So if you do break means like, no, where is the start of the block of code? This is the start and this is the end. It will just come out of this one, this block of code. Okay, that's why you need to give break at the end of each case block. Okay, so that's don't think much into it. That's how it is actually. You may think it is as a flaw, but it's not really a flaw. That's how it was done in the C and C++ as well. That's how it is works in the Java as well. Okay, now let me comment out this break and see what happens. Okay, whatever I told you, right, everything will happen. And then the same thing. Okay, if you give 3 means like, now it won't execute the I am crawling. It will execute this I am walking. It will successfully find out it needs to execute this block, and then it will start executing from here, and then it will keep on going on with if you don't have the break means. Okay, I'll show you how. If I give value 1 means like, now you see this, everything got printed. Okay, I'm crawling, I'm walking, I'm starting school, I'm old now. Okay, if I give value 3 means like, now it will start from here, but it will keep on going. Okay, if you give 5 means like, now and same thing for it will start from here, but it will keep on going on. If you give 10 means, because there is nothing, it will start from here, it's here itself, and then it must print I am must hold now, and then there is nothing after it, so it will just come out of the block. Okay, so if you do 3 means, again the whole thing will get printed. Okay, that's why you need the break at end of the each case block. Okay, you can have any number of statements you want here. Okay, after this, right? Run this. You give 3 means.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah, great.
Yes. So it will. So if you put the break there, it will come out only from the switch.
Yes.
Like a scope. Yeah, and it will go back to the
end after the
to the while loop.
Yeah. Yes, you are right. Yes, because as I told you, like no, the break. If you do the break, right, it will just come out of the immediate block which it is in. That's it. It doesn't affect the next block.
Next block, yes,
Yeah.
which is the while. Okay.
Yeah. If you put a break here again here, right, it will come out of the
Then it will come out from the
while loop as well. Yes, you are right.
While.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's what. So I gave 3 here. Okay, it started with I am walking. I'm still walking. I'm starting school. Still in school. I must be old now. Okay, so that's why. That's why you need the break at the end of the each case block. Okay. So whenever you think of you are going to use a case statement, right? Just think, remember in your mind you have to do the break statement at the end of the case block. Okay. Now you can do a string also. So it doesn't just work only for the primitive data types. It can work for the string as well. So you can put string. So if I execute this one, right, and remember, strings it is case sensitive. Okay, if I just give everything a small letter, right, and then press enter, right, it will say that it will execute only the default. You really need to give it is case sensitive. Okay, so if I give India, right, it will say Indonesia. It will do. Okay. So you can use it with anything. Okay, I mean anything. When I say means, pretty much you will use it only with string or also with any of the primitive data types. Okay, and then if you mismatch the data types, right, it will start to complain. Okay, if you put int and then if you put, say for example, if I add another block like this, it needs this one. And then again, yeah, you can't have the same criteria again two times, because this is not allowed, right? You can't have same criteria and with 2 different definitions. Okay, even though it will look like the same definition, you can have something like if you like this means like no. So what you have done here is like no, with the same scenario, right? You have got two different definitions, which is not allowed. Okay, so that's what the duplicate label. That's what it is complaining about. You can't have the duplicate label, and you can't have the different data type also. I can't put 5 here, okay, because it is a mismatch of the data type as well. Because it is expecting a string here, but you have put an int, okay. And same thing it goes on for everything, okay. You can't do it like that, okay. So. Okay, so everyone understood with the switch statement, right? It's really simple. It's not complicated, but you will use it at some circumstances. Okay. Okay. If no one has got any doubt, means right now I'm going to move on to the next topic. What we are going to see in this session. Okay. Okay. Let's quickly talk about what is methods and functions. Okay. So we saw for loop, right? What is basically the fundamental reason of the for loop is, right? It is we are going to repeat a code, okay? We need a code which is going to be repeated again and again, that piece of code, but we don't want to write the same code again and again. That's why you had the for loop, right? It is the same code which needs to be executed multiple times in the same location. So you had the for loop there, okay? Let's take one example here. Okay, so you wanted this piece of code to execute it 10 times, so you had the for loop. Okay, now what will happen? What will happen? This is one of the way of reducing the number of lines of code you require. Okay, what is methods and functions? Yeah, what is methods and functions means like no, you can write a piece of code separately, and then you can call the piece of code whenever you want. Okay. So you write it and leave it aside, okay? In your main program, right? You can call the program. If any piece of code which is going to be repeated many number of times in different places, right? Then you need to run the then you need to define a method, okay? Show you the building block. Okay, let's jump in. And one more thing, everything in Java, right? It is a class, okay? Whenever you inside a class, right? There's going to be only two things. One is variables, and then another is methods, okay? When we see the class in the next session, right, you will understand what are those two things are. So now you just need to concentrate on what is methods are, okay? So this main statement I'm writing, right? This itself is a method. So let's okay. So what is the structure of the method is like no. What is bare minimum structure of the method is like no. You need a return type first. I'll tell you what everything means. Okay. Name of the function, and then name of the function, and then input arguments. Okay, so this is the basic structure of the method. Okay, and then you will have the block of code. Okay, now what is return type in the sense like no, once you're done with your process, right, process or block of code or anything, right, to return some value to the whoever called you to do the certain operations, right? If you want to return any values to them, right, you just need to tell what type of value that is going to be, whether it's going to be, say for example, if you want to do addition means like you are writing a function to addition, okay? So what will be the return type of? So they will call you with two variables, okay, A and B, okay? What is your job is to add those two variables and return the results to them. So what you will be returning mostly in the integers, okay? Say for example, if they want to divide two numbers means like if they give you two input arguments as 5 and 2 means like what will be mostly returning to? You'll be returning a float value, which is because 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, which is a float value. So you'll be returning a type of float. You just need to tell what return type is going to be. Okay. So let's do something for addition. Okay. So first is going to be return type, which I'm going to return int. I'm going to return an integer and the name of the function. Okay. It's going to be addition. And what are the how many? You can have any number of inputs for. You can add any number of values, but I'm just going to do 2 at this moment. Okay, I need 2 values. A plus B. and then what is you just need to return this to C to the whoever has called you, right? So you just need to type return C. That's it. Okay. So what you need to remember is this is going to be return type, and whatever you're returning, right, this should match this one. So you can't have like this. Okay, you can't type a float here and then return a because this will do a mismatch, which will have a result in a compiler error. I will show you in this one. Okay, when we do the real program. Okay? So this is a very simple method. Okay, you can have. Now, what is the advantage of having it like this, right? This piece of code can be called any number of times by any function, any method, anyone who wants. Okay. Now, if you see this, I'll just copy this and paste it here. I will make this a little bit complicated. Okay. What we do factorial. Okay, let's I will do a factorial in a minute. Okay, let's look at this itself. Okay. Okay, I will explain to you what I'm doing in the later sessions. Okay, I'm just going to solve this problem in a bit of a different way. Okay, so in this calculator, right, so this is a simple function. Okay, so what it is doing is like now it's just calling this addition function with two values, 5 comma 4, and then what it will happen is like now 5 will be added with 4, and then 9 will be returned here. Okay, and what is that? Because basically what is the purpose of this function is like now if you don't have a function, right, you have to do it like this, 5 plus 4. Okay, now this may look one line code, and then okay, there might not be a big difference between the number of lines of code. Think in a complicated scenarios, okay, where you need to say, for example, if you want to calculate what is a plus b whole square means, like now there is a bit of what is the formula? It's a square plus b square plus 2ab, right? So you need to do that formula, and then if you do that, implement that formula in one of these, in a function, right? You can just call that function again and again, and then simply calculate it, and then there is a big advantage to doing it in that way. Okay, let's implement the formula. Okay, what is it? Okay, I'm just going to call the formula. Okay, so I'm just going to calculate those two things. Okay. Oh yeah, so no, I can't. I have to do a small thing. Okay, don't worry about this one. You will understand when we see what is class and what is object, so you will understand what I'm doing here. Okay. Now let's go back to our method function. Okay, just run this once. Okay, I haven't printed out anything. Okay. So, okay. So what this class, right, is just going to basically call the calculator this one. Okay. So now what has happened is like now let's remove this one. We don't need this. Okay. So you have done the formula. You have implemented this formula, and then this has calculated the a plus b whole square for you, and then given out, and then the value is 81. But what happens if you don't have a method, right? If you have this statement, right, you will be writing the same piece of code again and again in various places, even though there is a single line code, right? Down the line again, if you want, means like now you will be writing like this. Okay, you will be writing L is equal to, again, same formula. Okay. Now what might happen is like, what's the problem with this one? Like, you might do some mistakes if you do write the same operation again and again, right? You might do some mistake later on. You may realize, okay, you've done one small mistake. So what you have to do is like, you have to go back and think these two statements are in different places, means like so later on you realize you have made some mistake in this formula, means like what you need to go like you need to go and change in all the places wherever you have copied and pasted this statement, this piece of code. So that's a heavy work, because you will be doing it a lot. Okay, but if you have it in a function method, like all you need to do is like go and change. If you replace this one with this one, right? Sorry, formula. What's the use of this one is, right, you say for example you have made a mistake, like you multiplied with b, means like so this is a mistake, right? It should be a into a, right? So all you need to do is like change in one place rather than changing. If you have it in a single, if you have copied and pasted the same code wherever you need, right, first what will happen is like your number of lines of code will increase, which is really bad for the programming. Okay, the second what will happen is like it is not maintainable. When I say maintainable, means like you need to easily maintain it. You need to when I say maintain it, you need to be easily able to update it. So when you want to change in one place, when you want to do some changes, right, you really need to do the single change in the one place. Okay, you don't need to do, you shouldn't have written a program where you need to do the same update again and again in different places. Okay, that's again a bad programming. Okay, so to all these problems, all these problems, right, methods was introduced, this function concept was introduced. This is one of the really old concept. Okay, C was okay, this is one of the actually there was some programming called as BASIC. You might have Foxtron. All those things were there before C program. Okay, they don't have the concept of functions. So when it was in 1970s, okay, when they were writing programs in BASIC, right, they really need to copy and paste the same code again and again, because everything is a sequential. Okay, why C became so famous is like because they are the first one to introduce this concept of functions. Okay, so that's why that's one of the very big advantages, because it drastically reduces the amount of code and the amount of time required to develop a piece of software. Okay, so that is one of the methods and function, introduction of methods and functions, right? That's one of the main reasons why they call C as a structured programming. Okay, that's one of the main reasons why the C became so famous. Okay, and then C++ was built on top of it. Java was built on top of C, and C++ keeps on going. Okay, now and in the Java, right, everything is a class. Okay, I will see what is class in the next session. Okay, there are two important things in a class. Okay, and we have seen both the things now. Okay, one they call the whatever inside the class, right, they call as members. Okay, there can be only two things in a class. Okay, one is variables, another is methods. Okay, or functions. Methods and function means it's just the same name. Okay, just another name for method is function, another name for function is method. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to use always method. Okay, I'm not going to call anything as function. Okay, so in a class there can be only two things. One is variables, another is methods. Okay, so we have seen what our variables are and what is method, what is the method now. Okay, we will see different types of, I mean, we'll just dive into method now. Okay, now, but I need you guys to remember clearly. Okay, in a class there can be only two things: one is variables, another is methods. Okay, in the next session we will see what is a class means. Okay, I want you guys to understand clearly what our methods means. Okay, now let's do some deep into methods. Okay, now you can go complicated like this. Okay, you can, now what I told you was like, initially, so if you do this right, it will immediately complain. Okay, because in compatible types you are trying to return a float value, but actually what is the return type you have declared in the method is, you've said in the starting, I mean, you have said in the starting to the Java programming saying that this method is going to return a value of int, but inside your definition of the method, right, you're trying to return a float value which is not allowed, which is clearly violation of this declaration. Okay, so that's why it's complaining. Yeah. So if you change it to float, it will stop complaining. Okay, that's as it is. The same thing you can't do. Okay, no. Okay, see, this it didn't complain. Again, the concept of, that the initially what we saw, right, you remember the typecasting. If you go from higher to lower, you can go from so you can't store a higher value into a lower value, but you can store a lower value into a higher variable, right? That's it. Won't Java won't complain, right? The same thing is happening here. You're trying to return a float as a double, which is perfectly allowed actually, because float is also a type of a double only, because double is 8 bytes and float is only 4 bytes, right? That's why it's not complaining. But if you try to do the opposite of lesser values, right, it will start to complain. If it is float and if you're trying to return a double, right, it will complain. Okay, incompatible types. Okay, and again you can use the typecasting here as well. Okay, sorry. Float. So why it's complaining is it says that you are trying to return a double, but the actual declaration is float, right? You can do typecasting here as well. You can, if you typecast this to float, right, it is completely legal. Okay, because even though C is of type double, right, before what you have instructed, right, before you return anything, right, convert this variable into a float. That's what you have given instruction. That's why it's not complaining. Okay, see the typecasting concept, right? It is such a minor concept, but it will come everywhere. Okay, indirectly it will come into the picture everywhere. Okay, now this is what we saw till now, right? It is all primitive data types into float. Okay, but in the scenarios, right, I'll be using when I do programs, right, in the automation, right, you will be pretty much returning lot of strings. Okay, let's do a string. Sorry, first let me define a function. Okay, let me define a simple string operation for to join two strings. Okay, so what I'm going to do is like, I'm going to return a type. Return type is going to be string. Okay, and I'm going to do concatenate operations. Okay, I need two strings for it. Okay. Yeah. Hello.
I got disconnected. I'm back now. Sorry.
Okay. String B. Okay, I'm going to return C, which is going to be A plus. Okay. Let's see. Simple as that. Okay. Now. simple as this. Okay, just what it does is like now this concat of a function, right? It takes in two variables. Okay, sorry, this concat function, right? It takes in two variables. One is a and b, and then what all its operation does is like it's just going to add these two, convert these two strings into a single string, and then return that string. Okay, so that's all. That's what you have done. Okay, you're given two strings as the input variables. Okay, my name is, and then another variable is, another argument is Adam, and then that has been passed here, a and b, and then you have just added those two and then returned it. Okay? As simple as this. So you can pass in objects, you can pass in primitive data types, anything. It's perfectly legal one. Okay, now this is one of the small things you need to keep in mind. Okay, now what I told you in the last session, right, explained about the block of codes and scope, right? So this, for this variable, right, I'm sorry, no, let's see this one. Okay, for this, in this function, right, c is a new variable which you have created. Okay, which will exist only in this block of code. After this, once this block of code has been executed and done, right, the c will cease to exist. Okay, whenever you call this function again, right, again c will start from the top. Okay, whatever values you have set previously, right, it will disappear. Okay, let's see that one. I'll create another function. Okay, into demo. It's a simple one. Okay, this is not going to take any input arguments. Okay, now, say for example, if you do int c is equal to 5, I'm printing out c. Let's do it like this. Okay, if I call this function, demo, like for example, if I pass in 7, right? Okay, so just cut and paste it. Okay, if I run this, one, right? Okay, 7. If I run this one, right, first time it has got 7, it has got 8. Okay, because you are calling, so your first time what you are doing is like you are calling this function with value 7. So 7 will be assigned to this int c variable, and it will be printed what it has been assigned as 7. So 7 will be printed out, and then you have changed the value to c into something else, and then you are returning that one. Okay, that's it. And what will happen after this one, right? The block of code has ended. Now what will happen to c is like now c will cease to exist. It doesn't matter what you have set the c to, it will end there itself. When you call this same functionality again, right, whatever you are calling this function, right, it will start from the scratch. C will be 8 now. Okay, it won't be 6 or anything. It doesn't matter what is the previous state of the method. Okay, whenever you call the method again for the second time or the third time, right, it will start from the fresh clean slate. Whatever state you have left it in the previous call, right, it will be wiped out. Okay, so you need to keep that in mind. It's a pretty simple thing. Okay, as I explained earlier, right, once a block of code is done means like now the whatever state you have left the c in, right, that will cease to exist. Okay, now that's all to it actually in this one. Why I wanted to tell you this one is like no, you can't save the state. Okay, because this is the calling function means like no, this will call this with the input arguments, and then c will be used set to that whatever value you have passed on, and then it will be assigned in the next time. Okay, next time if you call it by 8 means 8 will be assigned to it, and then that will be the c value. Okay, well, it doesn't matter what you have left in the previous call. Okay, now what happens if you don't want to return anything? Like no, there is a special keyword called as void. Okay, if you don't want to return anything means like no, you can put void. Okay, if you don't want, if you just want to do some, like say for example, usually when the void will be used, like if you want to print something, usually in those circumstances, because printing, if the main reason for you created that method is to print something, means like you don't need to return anything. Okay, in those circumstances you will use void. Okay, that's what it's complaining. Okay, because I put in void, right? Void means that you can't return anything, you can't return, that's what, you cannot return a value from method with void result type. Okay, because if you declare the method definition is void, means like you can't return anything. Okay, all you have to do is like just remove this one. Okay, that's all to it. Can run the same thing, and it's the same results. Okay, so whatever state you leave the C in, right, it doesn't matter, it will once the block of code is ended, means like it will cease to exist. Okay, that's all the function, what the function means. Okay, function or method means. Okay, it's as simple as this. It's not a complicated at all. The main reason for the purpose of the method is like it's to reduce the number of code you write. Okay, whenever you think the code is going to be repeated, right, you create a function and place that piece of code in that function, so that you call that function again and again wherever you need the piece of code to get executed. Okay, so that you don't need to write the whole. Here there is two lines of code. Usually it will be in 15 or 16, 20 lines of code. Okay, think like that. If you call that function 10 times in your program, right, if you don't have the concept of methods, right, you will have 200 lines of code, because 20 into 10. But if you have methods, if you once you define it as a method, right, you just need to call that method 10 times. Okay, so 200 lines of code has been reduced to 10 line of codes. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, that's the purpose of the method. Okay, now there is a concept called as recursion. I used to use that concept. I mean, I still use that concept regularly in the method. It's a simple concept, but it will be a bit complicated to understand. Okay, but it's really a simple thing. Okay, now what is recursion means, like when I told you can call any method from any method. Okay, you can call say for example, if I want to you can call concat from demo. You can call this function from here. Say for example, if I want to call so what I've done here is like I've called this formula method from the demo. So that's what it's printing out every time 289 means like because 9 plus 8 whole square is 289. Okay, that's why it's printing. So you can call from any function from any function. Okay, there's no limitation to that. But you may have a question like, what will happen if you call the same function inside your own function? Okay, what I mean by that is like, say for example, okay, if I call say C system. Okay, if I do this, right, open something. Okay, now what's going to happen is like so what you have done, what here does is this line of code, this piece of code will never get executed. The reason is like so first what you have done is you are calling a function with the input variable something simple as that. Okay, so when it's executing, right, first this line will get executed, immediately it will jump here. Okay, so because it's seen a function where the function is you have defined is here. Okay, first it will print out whatever you have given as the input argument. Okay, you have given the input argument as something will be printed. Now what you have done in the next line, right, you call the same function from here. Okay, now what will happen is like again from once it sees right, the execution will jump again here. Okay, and then it will execute it will print the same whatever you have passed on. Okay, it will print out, and then again it will go to the next line of code. Again it will see that the same function is calling it will go here. It is kind of it will get repetitive, and then it will never end. Okay, that's why I said this line of code will never get executed. What recursion means, like recursion in a single line, what recursion means like calling the same function inside calling the same function inside the same function. That's what the recursion means. Okay, if I run this, right, see this one, right, it has gone bonkers. See, you got infinite, and then the reason why it broke down is like, no, because there is something concept called a stack program. Stack programming, not stack programming. The functions are handled in a stack method. That's why it's you are allowed to call the method again and again. There is a limit to it actually. That's why it kind of ended. But if you see this mint, right? See this one, right? How many times it has printed? Because the reason is like, no, it has called its own function again and again infinitely. Okay. Now when the recursion will, let's do it in a simple, let's do a program, okay, where we can end the recursion, okay, in a certain way. I'm going to create one function called as recursion, okay. It's going to recursion, it's going to take input argument. Okay, here also I call the it's going to come out of this not equal to 0 value minus if I run this one, right, get the proper answer. Okay. So what you've got is like, you got 0 printed from 0 to 9. Okay, again you are doing the same thing here. Okay, you are calling the same function where this function is defined. Okay, now so what I've done is like, it's a simple logic. Okay, what I've done is like, now I call this function with value 10, and when I call this, right, first what I'm checking is whether the value is equal to is not equal to 0. Okay, I mean, if it's not equal to 0 means execute this block of code. If the value is equal to 0 means execute this block of code. Okay, now what I have done is like, no, first is I'm reducing the value, whatever value I'm passing, right, I'm reducing the values by decrementing the value by 1. Okay, now and I'm calling the same function with that value. Okay, so what will happen for the first time is first the 10 will come. Okay, so it will be reduced to 1, reduced by 1, and then the value will become 9, and then same thing will be called again. Okay, now again 9 will come, and then 9 will reduce. What is 9 minus 1? 8, and then again it will call with 8. Okay, and then it keeps on going on. It will be called again with 7. It will never end. Okay, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, once it comes with 1, right, again the same thing. 1 is not equal to 0, so 1 minus 1 is, then value will become 0. Then recursion will be called with the value 0. Okay, now what will happen is like, no, it will see the value as 0. Okay, so values has come in the last time, right, value has come as 0. Okay, now what will happen is like, no, this if statement won't get satisfied. and then now the return, this statement will get executed. Now the function will end. Okay, now so what has happened is like now let's see. So yeah, okay, so what will happen is like now it comes on, function will be called inside the function again, it goes on deeps like this. Okay, for us, right, the first time when it called, right, it was value with 10, right, so it will be 10 here, and then next time it will be the same function will be called inside, it will value 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1 0, and then once it sees zeros, right, it will start returning values, so it will go out like this. Okay, now what will happen is like this, when this print out will happen is like when it reaches 0, right, then only this print will start to happen. That's why you are seeing the first value to be printed as 0. If I do it in the, okay, let me reduce it in a simple 5 and then do it in debugger mode. Okay, you'll be able to see it actually. Okay, let me do it. Okay. How can I execute a fate? Because okay, so first time when I called it, right, the value is 5, that's what I called it with. Okay, first what will happen is like it will check whether the value is 5 or not. Okay, next it will go value is not equal to 5, so what will happen is value will be reduced to 1. Okay, so if I step over, so value has become 4. Now what will happen is like once it executes the statement, right, it will again jump here because the same function will be called from inside within that function itself with the value 4. Okay, so if I go step into, right, see again it has come because now the value has become 4, and then it will go inside and then a value will get reduced and then become 3. Now again the same function will be called with 3. I did the sorry, I didn't press step into, that's why it came outside. Step into, yeah, no. Okay, let's start from the starting. 5 step over, yeah. Okay, now the value, the same function will be called with the value 4 if I step into, right. Okay, so it will be called with, okay, if I step into, right, same thing will be called with 3. Now the value will become 2 and then it will be called again with 2. Now, okay, now if I step into this one, okay, it will call with value 2. The function is going to be called again with value 1.
Sorry, Bala.
Yeah.
Just a quick question. So, are you always using println for debugging instead of print?
No, I didn't understand the question. What did you?
So you have system out println, yes?
Yeah.
So is it better if you're using debugging, it will show you, it will print out the value next to each other, like next after, or just doesn't really matter what you're using?
No, it really doesn't matter actually.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, okay. Now what is okay? Now the value has become as 1. Okay, so it will get decremented now. Okay. If if I step over, right? So the value has become 0. Now the same function will call value of 0. Okay, now let's see what's going to happen now. Okay, now 0 is not equal to 0, obviously, so this else part will get executed. Okay, now so if I execute this one, right, it will jump here. Okay, now 0 is going to be returned. Okay, now what has happened is, like, if you see this one, right, the same function has been called multiple times within itself. Okay, this is the order which has been done. Okay, now once the 0 is returned, right, sorry, here, if I step over, right? Yeah, so when you call this function, so with at some, when we did from, like, no, we started with the 5 4 3 2 1, and then in the last time when it calls this recursion function, right, it called with 0. Okay, now what has happened when it called with 0, right, it returned a value actually. Okay, so the statement has come back to this one. Okay, now the next line of whatever after this if statement, right, will get executed now. Okay, so if I step over, right, now this just println will get executed. Now it will print out 0. Okay, and then it will return this doesn't matter to us. Okay, step over. Okay, now in the previous time, when what was the value of this value before 0? It was 1, right? So 1 will get printed. Okay, now again, this recursion, right, why I covered this recursion topic is right now, I have used it in our automation, right? We have used it in some circumstances where we deal with JSON, right? You know, if you have ever done, if you don't know what JSON means, right now we will be covering that later on. Okay, in the JSON, right, you can go. JSON is basically a key value pass, right? It can have any number of definition within itself. Okay, you can have a like arrays inside array inside array inside array. It can go on like this. Okay, to process that one, right, rather than doing a different function, right, what you will do is, like, you will call the same JSON with on itself actually, same function again and again with the JSON value to process the whole JSON actually, because in the runtime only it will be, you will never know what is going to be the JSON definition is going to be. Okay, if it's contained of one array, or else if it contains multiple arrays within itself. Whenever I use JSON, right, whenever I want to process JSON values, right, I use a recursion concept. Okay, we will see when we cover the JSON down the line, right, I'll show you how the recursion is useful at that time. Okay, I just wanted you to know the concept. Okay, so if you don't understand this logic, right, what we just explained, right, don't worry about it. Okay, just remember in your back of your mind, you can call the same function within itself. Okay, there is nothing wrong in it. Okay, and then once it executes a certain operation, right, it will come back to its own position. Okay, it will come back to where it started. Okay, that's the whole point of the recursion. Okay, now the concept of the function is, right, you know, once it finishes this one, right, it will go back to the position where this was called. Okay, so in the demo, right, when I call, no, not the demo, where I did a formula instead of formula, right, so say for example, if I call the formula function here, right, and then give two values here. Okay, now what will happen is, like, just comment out this one. If I call this demo, okay, so when I call this function, right, immediately the line of execution, right, will jump here. Okay, now it will try to execute this statement. Okay, once it sees the function here, right, immediately from here itself, right, it will jump here. Okay, so this will be the first line to be executed. Okay, so it knows that it is the function, so it has to go somewhere else, so the line of execution will jump here, and then again, it jump here, and again it knows that there is a function here, so the line of execution will jump here, and then it will execute this statement, and then it will execute this statement, then the function will come back here, then it will continue on processing on. Okay, just comment out this one. Okay, and then you can I will do a quick thing actually, so that, like, no, I'll just put one. Okay, if I execute this one, right? So what is first is like top. This is the first line which will be executed. Okay, once it sees this line, right, demo, it will jump immediately here. Okay, first demo 1 will be printed. Then again, once it sees there is a function here, right, it will jump here. Then demo 1 of 1 will be printed, and then it will go. Once it finish executing this function, right, this block of code, the line of execution will jump again here. Okay, what is the next line? It's demo 2. So demo 2 will be printed. Again, next line will be executed. Again, it knows that it is a function. Then again it will jump here. It will execute this line of code, demo 1 of 1. Once it is done, right, it will jump here. Okay, that's the end of the block here. Again, now once it's end of the block, right, again it will jump back to where it started. Okay, here. Okay, so this has been done now. So then now the next line will get executed. So now the end. Okay, so this is how the order works. Okay, you can call any number of function within itself. Okay, whenever it sees a function, it will jump there, and then it will finish that piece of code, then jump back to the position where it was called from. Okay, that's how the line of execution of the function works. Okay, yeah. So in this session, right, what you need to understand is like now. So first, when we did the first program of to explain the logic, right, it may be look complicated. Once you get used to it, right, that's the reason why I'm asking you to practice each and exercise is like once you think of how to once you become a master of using the for loops and the if statement, right, it may be very simple to understand. Okay, but think of logic, right? You need, if you do a lot of exercise, right, like logic problem solving skills will develop a lot actually. And then because learning something it's a simple, it might be a complicated thing, but once you learn, right, the most important thing is like problem solving. That helps you in your career. Okay, that's why I'm asking you to do the exercise again and again. And then, as you said, like you guys face a lot of troubles, right? When I did, right, I took only when I started also I was having so much trouble in doing these kind of programs. Okay, because of doing so many programs, right? That's why it's a bit easy now. I can think of different logics how I can solve the problems. Okay, that's why I'm asking you to do the exercise. Okay, I will post this code. I will post this code in the Google Drive. Okay, analyze this one and try to understand this one. Okay, once you understood, right, try to manipulate these ones. Okay, there are a lot of programs, right, okay, you see this diamonds, right, and then there was this program, right, 101 alternative. Think of logic how you do it. Okay, simple ways using the same concept. Okay, now the second thing what we saw was like switch statement, right? Switch statement is really simple. Okay, when you want to replace complicated if and else statement, right, that's where they will use switch statement. Okay, switch is also again simple thing. Okay, and regarding the methods or functions, right, only thing you need to understand is like it's just a block of code which you can call it again and again. Okay, that's all the method definition means. Okay, don't think a lot about recursion. If you don't understand the recursion, like leave it as it is. Okay, I just wanted to cover this concept. Okay, just keep it somewhere in your back of your mind. You can call the function on itself. Okay, there's nothing wrong in it. Okay, it may come down in the line, right? It may be useful somewhere. Okay, it will understand more clearly at that point. Okay, if any excess regarding recursion comes in, don't try it. Okay, just leave it as it is. Okay, and then there are some exercises for the in the session I have posted. Okay, exercises for the methods as well. Okay, so there are simple methods are there. Okay, exercises for that one. Try to execute this one also. Okay, and most important thing in this one is, right, like do as many exercises as possible. Okay, that's what helps. Okay, that's the most important thing of, again, that's why I'm keep repeating this same statement again and again in every session. Okay, yeah. Okay guys, that's all I wanted to cover today. Okay, next week only we are going to see, next Wednesday only we are going to see about what is class means. That's a fundamental block of the Java. Till now what we saw was like it's all fundamental blocks of C programming, because all the things whatever we saw till today were has been borrowed from the C programming. From the next session onwards only why Java has become so powerful. That's where really Java starts from. Okay, next session we are going to see what is OOPS concept. You must have heard that word. Okay, what is OOPS and how it is used in Java. Okay guys, I will see you guys on Wednesday. Okay,
Thank you, Bala.
no problem.
Thank you.
Nice.